In the headlines, reactions pour in following Edo Governorship election outcome. Economic hardship hits Nigeria's service industry. Federal Executive Council approves disaster relief fund. And away from Nigeria, Ghana police arrest 42 during economic hardship protest. Good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Aisha Salihu. The news in detail. We begin with matters of politics, where civil society group Yaga Africa has condemned the results of the Edo State Governorship poll conducted on Saturday, saying they failed electoral integrity test. A statement released on Monday and signed by its chair of the 2024 Edo Election Mission, Aisha Abdullahi, and its executive director, Samson Itodo, argued that the 2024 Edo Governorship election failed the electoral integrity test due to the lack of post-election statement on the transparency in the results collation process, which, according to it, led to the manipulation of results. It said while key processes such as accreditation, voting, counting, and recording of results at the polling unit substantially complied with procedures, the results collation process was compromised by the actions of some biased INEC officials in connivance with other actors. It added that these manipulations severely undermined the overall integrity of the election. The group said it came to this conclusion after it deployed the process and results verification for transparency methodology to observe the Edo State Governorship election. The method, it said, involved 300 stationary and 25 roving observers, covering a representative sample of polling units across all 18 local government areas. Also, following the conclusion of the 2024 Edo State Governorship election, the People's Democratic Party candidate, Asue Igodalo, has thanked his supporters, assuring them that their sacrifices will not be forgotten. According to the results declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission on Sunday, Igodalo came second with 247,274 votes, behind Monday Okwebolo of the All Progressives Congress, who scored 291,667 votes. Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party came a distant third in the race with 22,763 votes. Even when he said the election result was a theft of mandate, Igodalo hailed his supporters, describing them as true heroes of democracy. He alleged that their overwhelming support was evident in the ballots before the party's progress was unjustly halted on September 21, 2024, by people who did not mean well for the state.
Particularly thank the good people of Edo State who defied the rains, the intimidation, the threats of violence, harassment, arrests, and financial inducements to cast their votes for us overwhelmingly last Saturday, 21st September 2024. You are the true heroes of our democracy, and your sacrifices for a better Edo State will never be forgotten. My aspiration was not born out of the love for power, but a genuine desire to serve the people and create a pathway to prosperity for all in Edo State.
Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has dismissed a suit seeking the removal of Abdullahi Ganduje as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. The suit instituted against Ganduje by the APC North Central Group was dismissed by the judge on various grounds. Justice Ekwo held that the APC North Central Group is not a juristic person and not registered in law, and therefore has no legal power and capacity to file the suit. The judge also held that the plaintiff failed to explore the internal mechanism for peaceful resolution of issues before rushing to the court. Justice Ekwe further held that the appointment of officers for APC by its National Executive Committee is an internal affair of the party which no court can dabble into. The North Central APC group had dragged Ganduje, APC and the Independent National Electoral Commission before the court, praying for the nullification of appointment of Ganduje by APC on the ground of gross violations of the party's constitution. And back to Edo State, the Election Analysis Center of the Center for Democracy and Development has reported widespread irregularities in the just concluded Edo governorship election, including ballot snatching, result discrepancies, overvoting, and technical glitches. In its post-election report, compiled by a team of professors and election analysts and presented at a news conference in Abuja, the CDD called for greater transparency and urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to promptly address concerns raised by the political parties involved. Trustee Vice Shafiu Suleiman reports.
In a post-election report signed by the chairman of the CDD Analysis Center, Professor Adele Janadu, the group acknowledged that while the election was relatively peaceful and saw high voter enthusiasm, its team observed several irregularities throughout the process.
Results from various polling units in Esako East were observed as overvoting. In Wepa registration area, polling units at Osolo Primary School, Osolo, INEC also uploaded a result where the votes recorded for the APC were higher than accredited number of voters, with 213 accredited voters, but 352 votes for APC and 52 votes for PDP in Wepa registration area, Esako East local government. Similar cases were also recorded as follows. In Okpela 4, Ido Sabo registration area, where despite 250 voters being accredited, 263 were reported to have voted for APC and 97 for PDP.
The group also condemned the actions of desperate political actors who disrupted and manipulated the process at certain polling units, raising suspicions of attempts to influence the election's outcome.
The typical challenge of political actors attempting to disrupt the result collation process marred the conduct of the elections. Gunmen snatched a ballot box from a polling unit in Onwa West during the Edo 2024 governorship election. The armed attack disrupted the voting process and it raised concerns about the security of the elections. There was a report of the cancellation of voting because of violence in Ikoro Community Unit 5 and 15 of the Ohede ward in Ovia Northeast local government. However, the collation officer at the point of announcing results noted that the results were not cancelled. In Unit 5 specifically, Ikoro Primary School, the form EC8A, as uploaded on IREV, has 1,050 registered voters, but only 31 voters were accredited.
The group called for improved transparency from INEC to boost electoral credibility, especially ahead of the upcoming Ondo election. It also urged collective efforts to counter disinformation and ensure that accurate information is shared with the public to prevent post-election manipulation. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The cost of living crisis and tightening financial conditions in most countries have contributed to the global economic downturn. The Russian-Ukrainian conflict and lingering impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated food shortage worldwide, impacting negatively on the global economy. Nigeria is not immune to the global crisis, which has weighed heavily on its service industry, with growth stagnating and unemployment soaring. The report.
Nigerian service industry, the backbone of its economy is struggling. The service sector, which encapsulates wholesale and retail trade, real estate, and information and communication, contributes significantly to the GDP of Nigeria. But the picture painted of the sector by experts is bleak. These experts say the sector has stagnated and has failed to bounce back since the COVID-19 pandemic.
In 1990s, service sector contributed less than 30%, but we saw a paradigm shift in 2010 where service sector began to contribute as much as 50%. But since post-COVID, so it has remained stagnant at an average of 54% to GDP.
Local businesses are grappling with the existential challenges as inadequate electricity supply and exorbitant transportation costs threaten their viability. Alihu Isa, an entrepreneur who operates a frozen food business, laments that the inadequate electricity is crippling his operations.
We are seeing here in Burin Kebi, at times we may have a glitch of, electricity outrage. At times, maybe when we bought goods like chickens, in a 2 days time, if we couldn't get any access or contact with, light or ice, it may lead them towards to spoiled.
Gender and child rights activists are concerned about the devastating impact of the economic downturn on women, stressing that the financial struggles are increasing their vulnerability to domestic abuse, making them more susceptible to exploitation and violence.
Example, the high rate of violence we intervene now is increasing due to poverty.
Experts say there is an urgent need for the government to intervene and revitalize the country's economy. For now, it seems Nigeria's economic crisis is deepening, which is why the citizens of Kebbi are calling for immediate action from the government to address the escalating cost of living. From Birnin Kebbi, Cynthia Yongo, reporting for Trust TV.
The prices of maize have declined in Jalingo main market, and customers are calling on the marketers to maintain the prices and avoid any external and internal factors that might cause the increase in the price of the goods. The report.
As farmers experience the bumper harvest of maize this season, the prices of the product is beginning to drop in Jalingo main market. While some customers believed that prices are still expensive, other buyers, however, hope that the decline in prices will be sustainable.
The price of maize has reduced beyond reasonable doubt. We have discovered that it has reduced drastically. It was 2,000, but now a mood of maize is 1,000 naira. In other places, is 1,100.
Probably because new maize is coming out, and I think that's the reason why it has reduced. But see at that, it's still expensive. Because normally now that is at least they are harvesting maize, it's supposed to be more lower, or the price should have been more lower than it is now.
Well, I can never tell them say that we carry our business down. That's the price of the bag, because I don't know how the person do his own to harvest and bring it to sell inside the market. So therefore, sometimes if you think twice to tell person that cut your business down, it's unfair, my brother.
The Secretary, Grains Sellers Association, Jalingo Main Market, Adamu Kabo, said the bag of maize was sold previously between 80 to 90,000 naira per bag, but has now reduced to around 40 to 50,000 naira. He added that prices of grains usually fall during harvest season. We used to sell a bag of maize around 80 to 90,000 naira per bag. But as a result of the new supplies in the market, the price has reduced between 40 to 50,000 naira per bag. The price may increase when the goods become scarce in the market, which may be as a result of the stockpiling of the produce by the marketers. We are also happy with reduction in the price because it gives us chance to purchase high volumes. Another factor that caused the hike in prices of grains is the attitude of some village heads who enforce unnecessary taxes on the marketers before allowing them to buy products from farms. Government should look at the situation. Traders said they are enjoying patronage from customers who are taking advantage of the low prices.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the setting up of a disasters relief fund that is aimed at engendering quick response to victims of disasters across the country. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, stated this on Monday while briefing State House correspondents shortly after the FEC meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The fund is to source finances from the 3 tiers of government and private sector players for flood victims. This is coming as FEC constituted a technical committee to reassess the dams across the country, and particularly the Alau Dam in Borno State, where several lives were lost recently as a result of the flood disaster that ravaged many parts of the state's capital, Maiduguri. The committee is to be chaired by the Minister of Water Resources and has other members. Meanwhile, the federal government, through the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, has proposed to build 5 buffer dams to contain incessant floodings which often arise from the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. The Taraba state government has asked residents in areas located by River Benue to immediately relocate to safer areas to avoid dangers of flooding. The State Commissioner of Information, Zainab Usman Jalingo, said there was high potential of flooding along the River Benue Valley in the state. She said in Jalingo on Monday that residents of areas along the valley of River Benue in the state should, as a matter of urgency, relocate to avoid dangers. The commissioner stated that Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency has issued a warning to residents of location along the river of possible flooding following the announcement by the Lagdo Dam Authority in Cameroon. Usman said though the release of water from Lagdo Dam is being controlled to avoid exceeding the capacity of the Benue River system, there is, however, still a potential danger of flooding. She listed communities at high risk to include those in Karim Lamido, Low, Ardokola, Gasol, Wokari and Ibbi local government areas of the state. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still in the news. Abuja residents weigh in on the impact of social media on education. We'll bring you details of the story and more after the break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at our top stories again. We told you that reactions pour in following Edo Governorship election outcome. You also heard economic hardship hits Nigeria's service industry. And to other stories, and now to a sad development. 3 persons died early Monday in an accident that occurred at the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge toll gate in Lagos. The accident, which occurred around 1 a.m. on Monday, involved 2 cars whose drivers incidentally survived the crash. A user on X said the 2 drivers came out unhurt while their friends lay dead. Reacting to the post, spokesman for the Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundain, simply said the police arrived at the scene and took occupants of the vehicles to the hospital, adding that the 3 that were certified dead were taken to Yaba mortuary. The police equally took the driver at fault to the hospital for medical attention. Social media isn't just a trend. It's woven into the fabric of students' daily lives. A recent study reveals that a staggering 95% of teenagers are active on these platforms, using them to connect, share, and engage with the world around them. It's their virtual playground where friendships flourish and ideas spark, shaping how they communicate and interact in a fast-paced digital age. In this report, Trust TV's Aisha Abdul Momoni speaks to parents and students on the pros and cons of social media use. Take a look.
In the 21st century, education has shifted to technology-based. This phenomenon has seen social media become an integrating tool of education that improves national development in the education sector. Social media has affected communication between people in educational communities positively over the past decades. Now, life is made easy by several platforms for development academically, socially, and politically. Some parents voice their concerns about social media as distraction, highlighting how it often pulls students away from their studies. They lamented that many children spend more time on apps than reading or engaging in activities that could enhance their knowledge and academic performance.
Time that they are supposed to be spending on their books, assignment, research and all that, spending it on social media with all these many content creating, comedy and all that, they just notice that they're just whiling away the time doing nothing. I think that's the bad side of it.
Many students shared how social media has become a powerful ally in marketing their businesses, providing them with alternative sources of income. It has also raised their awareness of societal issues, keeping them informed and engaged with their communities.
I'm very active on social media, and so far, being a student, it helped me in marketing my business. So I have an online marketing complex where people meet me and ask me to market their products. I will charge you so amount of money according to the customers I get for you. So far, it has impacted me in many ways, helped me very well. I don't think a disciplined student should allow social media to distract. Everything has its own time.
Social media is very good, but you also make some students not to read or not to focus on their study, but you also help too. Because what is going on in the country, without social media, I can't know what is going on in the country. And it also helped me too, to know where I'm going and to know what is going on in the country. Because without social media, you cannot stand in your ground and you cannot know what is going on.
While many view social media as a vital tool that can positively impact students' lives when used wisely, others emphasize the importance of responsibilities and balance. Students are encouraged to navigate social media thoughtfully to avoid its potential negative effects. Abdulmuminu Aisha, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And to developments in business, Nigeria's currency, the naira, depreciated by 51.5% against the dollar at the official market in the last year under Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Olayemi Cardoso. This comes as Cardoso clocked a year in office after his appointment on September 15, 2023. The performance of the naira against the dollar in the foreign exchange market is far from impressive despite multiple interventions by the Cardoso-led CBN. This comes as data from the FMDQ showed that the naira dropped from 1,541.52 kobo per dollar on 22 September 2024 from 747 naira 76 kobo recorded in the corresponding period last year. In the period, the Monetary Policy Committee, led by Cardoso, raised the monetary policy rate 4 times to 26.75% to combat inflation, which stood at 32.15% in August 2024. The MPC is currently meeting to decide on whether to hike interest or pause the increase. And to developments away from Nigeria. Finally, in sports, bottom team Libya has opted to host Group D leaders Nigeria at the Martyrs of Benin Stadium in their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying March Day 4 encounter. The facility is located in the city of Benin, some 19 kilometers outside the country's second city, Benghazi, known previously as Hugo Chavez Stadium. The stadium is a 10,000 capacity facility with an artificial turf. Both countries will do a March Day 3 battle at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, on Friday, 11th October, before the clash in the city at the edge of the Mediterranean Sea on Tuesday, 15th October. While the match in Uyo will kick off at 5 p.m., the battle in Benin will commence at 8 p.m. Nigeria time. Libya remains bottom of Group D after 2 rounds of matches, following a 1-1 at home to Rwanda at the Tripoli International Stadium. and a 1-2 loss to the Cheetahs of Benin Republic in Abidjan. Nigeria tops the pool with 4 points after a 3-0 spanking of Benin Republic in Uyo on March Day 1 and scoreless draw with Rwanda's Amavubi in Kigali on March Day 2. And to developments away from Nigeria, Ghanaian police said they have arrested 42 demonstrators in the capital, Accra, after clashes erupted during protests against economic hardship and the government's handling of illegal mining, known locally as galamsey. The protests, organized by the group Democracy Hub, began on Friday and were set to continue until Monday. The demonstrators, mostly young people, marched through the city, chanting patriotic songs and carrying placards expressing frustration over environmental destruction caused by illegal mining and perceived economic mismanagement by the government. Police authorities said the 42 arrested on Sunday assembled unlawfully and attacked police officers who were performing their lawful duties. The police added that culprits will be arraigned in court for their actions, which include obstructing traffic, damaging property, and causing disturbances. The statement added that the protesters engaged in various acts of lawlessness, including removing the ignition key from a police vehicle and throwing it away, pushing down crash barriers, and disrupting the peace. And on that note, we've come to the end of the news update on Trust TV at this hour. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Join us again.